Okay. Probably heard enough from me, but I'm going to have a few comments to make, I guess. So, brothers and sisters, as I wrote in the latest edition of In the Loop, which you haven't seen yet, I guess, this is my swan song as a board member and chair. And it's really, really gratifying and nice to see so many people here. My suspicion is that more than a few of you are here just to make sure I'm really going. In that article in the Loop, which I hope you'll read, I quoted William Gibson, who noted that time moves in one direction and memory in another, which is kind of an elegant way of saying that we can't stop the march of time, but our memories can slow it down a bit as they capture special moments, events, and those people. So the past 6 years as chair of the board have certainly created a lot of memories, most of them good, and most of them associated with people. Our society of St. Vincent de Paul is populated with amazing individuals who do amazing work. It would take far more time than I have here or than you want me to spend to list everyone I want to thank and acknowledge for all they've done for the organization, and frankly often for me personally over the last 6 years. That list includes committee members, conference and PC presidents, all the dedicated staff in our homes and camps and residences and programs. I couldn't have asked for a finer group of people to work with, nor do I have enough words of gratitude for all that they do. I want to acknowledge and especially all my board colleagues. I've had about 15 of them, I think, over the years. Some of them, sadly, have gone on far too early to their heavenly reward. But in all cases, their commitment to and love of the society, and in particular Toronto Central Council, was unwavering and unquestioned. I thank them for making the board a better body. I also want to mention a few folks who were remarkable in their support behind the scenes. People we don't see very often. They're not here, I don't think. One is Scott Whitley, Wayne Gray, and Graham Boyce, and the inimitable Monsignor Bianco. Their wisdom and perspicacity were invaluable as we navigated the often stormy waters of this so-called new governance model. As we all know, nothing would happen without our spectacular head office gang. A lot of them are here. Andrew, Pedro, two Sarahs, one of whom has been retired, Jody, Liza, our financial guru, and of course our intrepid leader, Louise. You know, if you look up the phrase sine qua non, you'll find a picture of Louise.
I had to look that up. I didn't know what that
And your picture was there, wasn't it?
was. Yeah. Was that a good picture?
She is the heart and soul of this organization. When I think back to the first board meeting 6 years ago, I'm reminded of the words of an old commercial. It was for Virginia Slim cigarettes. So today you couldn't even advertise the product. And you certainly couldn't use the tagline. You may remember, some of you are old enough. You've come a long way, maybe. But we have, and it's been quite a journey. From implementing this new governance model to maneuvering through the challenges of the global pandemic, purchasing 10 properties from the City of Toronto and a recovery home in Barrie, developing a new strategic plan, an equity of service policy, a new code of conduct and conflict of interest, reviving the newsletter, negotiating a deal for a new $15 million multi-story women's residence, completely updating our website, creating a new cloud-based CAM system, successfully defending our trademark rights and managing future risk by drawing attention to the many governance failures and issues with National. And we did all of this while overseeing an annual budget of $10 million with 300 staff and 1,400 volunteers. We still managed to find time to look after our relationship with the Archdiocese, and as we've done now today, to clarify and set out for future boards the relationship between GTCC, the conferences, and particular councils. Frankly, I get tired just reading the list. But I'm very proud of all of those things. And I'm very proud of and thankful for all the people that made it happen. The past, as Shakespeare wrote, is prologue. For over 170 years, successive generations of smart, good-hearted, dedicated men and women have built on the hard work of those who preceded. Sir Isaac Newton, author of the Principia Mathematica, perhaps the most important scientific work in history, said, "If we have seen further, it is by standing on the shoulders of giants." And I can't think of a better way to sign off my stint at that. I'm confident that those who take up the challenge will continue to protect and grow this most marvelous institution so that we'll be able to provide loving care to our neighbors in need far into the future. But as St. Paul wrote to Timothy, the time of my departure has come. I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith. So, as I exit stage left, I just want to leave you with a few thoughts for the future. We live in a world where comfort is king, where the familiar, even when flawed, often feels safer than the unknown. Neil Postman observed that people in distress will sometimes prefer a problem that is familiar to a solution that is not. How many times have we seen individuals or even entire organizations clinging to broken systems simply because they were accustomed to it? Yet history teaches us that the greatest strides forward are made by those willing to break free from convention. Progress does not come from passive acceptance. It comes from vision, from conviction, and from courage. As Margaret Thatcher so bluntly put it, consensus seems to be the process of abandoning all beliefs, principles, values, and policies. So it becomes something which no one believes, but to which no one objects. If we merely seek agreement for the sake of peace, we risk standing for nothing at all. Some may say that change is impossible. We've heard from Father Monsignor Bianco that apparently say that Paul was not one of them. Some say that the forces against us are too strong. But before we resign ourselves to defeat, let's consider Hanlon's razor. Never ascribe to malice what can be explained by stupidity. And its corollary, Clark's law. Any sufficiently advanced incompetence is indistinguishable from malice. Our obstacles are not insurmountable. Often they are not driven by a deep conspiracy, but by ingrained habits, by a lack of vision, by simple failures of leadership. Indeed, the chains of habit can be deceptive, as Samuel Johnson warned. They are too weak to be felt until they are too strong to be broken. We must break those chains before they lock us into stagnation and before they rob us of the future we could build. Who then will rise above the inertia of convention? Who will push for a world that is better rather than merely familiar? Well, George Bernard Shaw offers us an answer. The reasonable man, he said, adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends on the unreasonable man. So, let's be unreasonable. Not in ignorance or arrogance, but in conviction. Let us challenge the status quo. Let us demand something greater, something transformative. For those of us who walk in faith, this call is even clearer. St. Paul urges us, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Will we have the courage to see the world as it truly is and as it could be? choose renewal over complacency? Will we walk the path of faith and conviction demand? In St. Luke's Gospel, Jesus tells us, "From everyone to whom much has been given, much will be required. And from the one to whom much has been entrusted, even more will be demanded." So brothers and sisters, the time for passive acceptance is over. We must act with conviction, challenge the chains that bind us, embrace the transformation that leads to true progress. The world will not change itself. It's waiting for those who dare to be unreasonable. We must always, however, remember the words of John Quincy Adams, which I'll leave you. Duty is ours. Results are the God's.